Mayor Pro Tem Terry Hill is with us. We're talking about last night's Artesia City Council meeting. And where would you like to continue?
Well, when we left off, we had just finished discussing the police chief, Chief Roberts, and he it looks as though he might be getting some viable candidates in here to bring on and what have you. And then when Chief Hope, the fire department chief, he brought us some good news. He had we hired 5 new cadets last night. 5.
Wow.
And so anyway, we're excited about that.
Not one.
We got 5.
Wow.
That ought to keep him busy, shouldn't it?
That's right. Yeah, well, that's good news.
Anyway, and then we did do some other hiring. Let's see, city attorney. We had the one we had passed away. We've had another one out of that office in Carlsbad was filling in for us, and thank goodness he stayed with us. It's taken us a year now to finally resolve that issue, and last night an attorney was brought on board. Then let's see. So that was good news with those 5 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then he also made a request to us. We've got some vehicles that have run out of life. They're no longer serviceable and what have you. And normally we put these into auctions and stuff like that. And to enable them to continue to do rescues and stuff like that out of vehicles, they usually use old junk cars and things of that nature. Well, last night he made a request for 3 of these vehicles to be able to utilize those in their training, okay? They'll be utilized to break into, and extricate victims, stuff like that, become more familiar with the hands-on of the Jaws for Life, should they happen to have to use those. Then at the conclusion of that, they will probably, and I'm just speculating now, then they would probably cause a fire in those vehicles and then practice putting those out. At that point, then they'll be burned and taken to the scrapyard.
But they've lived a good life, I guess.
They have gone out.
Are these cars, pickups? They're not fire trucks, are they?
No, they're, oh heaven, no, not fire trucks, we hope. No, they're excess vehicles that have so much mileage on them. They're constantly in need of repairs, stuff like that. We need to replace those. And so anyway, we normally, when we get into situations like that, we'll park these things in the yard, and then at some point in time, we will offer those to the public through auctions and what have you. But anyway, he was in need of 3, so we gave him those.
Very good.
Let me see, what else? Community development. We'll be meeting, which I serve on that committee. We have a meeting this evening to talk about a contract, look at a contract for leasing some real property here in town. So whenever we get that finished up, then we'll be bringing it back to the full council for their consideration and what have you. Next, we went to infrastructure. Byron Landfair is director there, and we have been in negotiations and what have you, trying to get set up to supply water to the new RDU unit, which sits on the south side of the highway, the new construction that they're putting in over there.
At Navajo.
Yes, sir, at
That
Navajo.
is such an amazing project. I drive by there not every day like some folks do, but enough that I've watched it grow.
Yeah.
And I saw train engines on the train tracks. I mean, they built a railroad over there.
Oh,
for
yes,
that
sir.
facility, and I saw the engines, the switching engines on there, and like that's just really cool what they've done over there.
Yes, sir. Their fuel, or I say fuel, their feed, what they're going to be utilizing down there, is shipped in by rail, and so consequently, they've put in a circular track down there. And they'll bring those cars in off the main line out here. They'll spot the BNSF will spot the cars for them, and then as they need them, then they'll be pulling those up and putting those off into their tankage and stuff, and running it through their units and what have you to get it ready to be shipped out of here.
And then it'll go back over to the siding where it waits for the BNSF to come and get them.
Many of you probably were seen us working there at Freeman and Main Street, there by that Shamrock Station. A lot of activity in there, and that's what that was. They were having to bore under the highway to bring that water line up Freeman Street from the south, and then where is it, down there around Washington Street, I think it is, where they crossed and had to go across down there and then come up to up Freeman Street there to that intersection by Shamrock Station. And anyway, they're making the tie-in. That's what that was, is to make the tie-ins so that the city can supply the water for that new unit that they're putting in there. And so consequently, in doing all that, a contract has been formulated and what have you between Holly and the city. And last night we blessed that thing.
Okay.
So anyway, we're trying to stay ahead of them, make sure that they have what they need before they actually use it. So,
right.
So anyway,
and another new great customer.
Oh yes,
for the city of Artesia, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And people don't realize. I would have never thought about it, but of course Navajo is our highest use customer on our water system. And we're thankful for that because they've been good customers. But when they bought the farm over there that they're putting that unit on the Anderson farm there.
And when we say bought the farm, that's a good thing.
But yes, that's a good thing. Anyway, along with that came the water rights. And so consequently, if Holly decides to, okay, we're going to use the water rights off this to utilize in our process over here at the refinery, and all of that sales goes away, the city still has all the infrastructures, the pipes, all that stuff, the towers, all of it, the wells to maintain. If the city was to lose that revenue, think what it would do to get that revenue back by spreading it throughout the users within the city.
Everybody else's water rates would have to be adjusted to
Yes, sir. They would have to be up quite a bit. So anyway, we're thankful that we've gotten a partnership where we had a good contract, we feel, and it's long-lived for Holly and long-lived for the city, to kind of buffer us from those higher water rates.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll be done on Freeman Street here pretty soon, because sometimes when there's a lot of rail activity and First and Main gets just backed up.
Oh, I know.
Like crazy. You know, you duck over on Freeman and you cut south and then come across over there. And the last time I tried to do that, I'm like, whoa, this is all messed up right now. So
yeah.
hopefully they're coming along and we'll get that done here soon.
Yeah, it should be completed, hopefully, real quick.
Excellent. That's good news.
Anyway, then we had a resolution designating the signatory agents for the city. We've had some changes, and so anyway, we had to rescind one resolution that we already had on in effect and replace it with yet another that updated the signature. In other words, who can sign checks and stuff and business for the city. So anyway, and then pending this next election and what have you,
have to change it again, maybe.
We may have to make some adjustments on that as well.
Yeah, and that's coming up right after the first of the year, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
As if we didn't know.
yeah, as if we didn't know. Then we had a short discussion on elected officials' salaries, and it included our concerns with the salaries of the council members, the mayor, and the municipal judge. Okay. And so anyway, we took a look at that and discussed some of the, just a heads up. It may be coming that we have a deeper, that may require some action later. But it was simply a heads up, informational. These are the rates or the salaries. These are some, there again, Gene, we went and done the salary surveys on other councils, mayor's positions, stuff like that. But anyway, currently, city councilors receive $600 a month. Mayor Pro Tem is at $700 a month, and the mayor gets $800 a month. Mr. Miller, Mayor Miller, when he was elected, he opted not to receive a salary. So anyway, everybody else is receiving their salary and has been. But some of the council has looked at the amount of time involved being on the council. Today I have three things to do. So anyway, I have an audit at 2 o'clock at City Hall, an out brief on the audit. I have community development at 4:30, and of course the mayor handed me this morning. But this is fine. I'm not complaining.
There you go.
But there are, people have got to realize that it's not just 2 meetings a month, the second and fourth Tuesdays. In between those times, we deal with committee meetings, trying to help the directors, trying to stay on top of things, those types of things, and then the multitude of phone calls to your house. Hey, my trash wasn't picked up. Hey, I haven't got any water pressure. All of these things. And so anyway, there's a lot of time involved in serving on the city council. Well, some of the councilors think that there should be better, more equitably compensated.
Right.
And so that discussion will come up at some point.
Okay.
And then,
that'll be interesting because, I'm sure you find there's opinions
oh yeah,
all over the place on that. there's people that hear what you just said about the time.
Oh yeah.
That's involved in it and say, well, yeah, they probably should get more.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are going to say, well, you're serving your community. What what?
Yeah.
So that's the discussion, right? That's probably going to happen here.
Well, when I got on the council many moons ago, it was $200 a month. I didn't get on it for the money. I didn't, and they chased me for a month. Mr. Kaiser did. To convince me that I ought to get on there and serve out Jimmy Boyce's last remaining time whenever he stepped off the council.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and then I can't remember what year it was, but anyway, there was a suggestion that we raise that to $600 for the councilors, and then also increase the mayors. And I kind of felt guilty, I did.
Yeah.
And here I am. I didn't come on for the money and what have you, and now I'm still of that opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing it as a service. It's something that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and we'll see how the discussion goes. Yeah, sure.
Interesting to see if that's just speculating out here. Interesting to see if that's like one of the main questions that come up in the municipal election next year. That could be one of the questions that
it could be.
People have to talk about.
You never know.
Yeah. Since I'm one that generally asks some of those questions,
yeah.
I'm making a note.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then we had last meeting, not the one last night, but the meeting before, we became aware that there had been a request for our police and fire to assist them in securing some additional funding for equipment.
Okay.
To be able to be considered at the state legislature, those topics or items have to be on your ICIP. And anyway, that request was not on our ICIP. So anyway, we kind of got to looking into it pretty good, and come to find out it would be considered under a minor bill, okay? And it would not have an impact on our ICIP requests.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, last night after we got clarification, after we looked into it and ensured that it could move forward and be considered as a minor bill, then we went ahead and blessed that and then requested that we go ahead and complete that and move forward with it.
Okay.
So anyway, if anybody had seen something from the last meeting regarding that, that's the status where we are at this point.
So it looks like it can be done.
Yes.
Even though it didn't get on the ICIP. What is ICIP?
Infrastructure. Let me see.
I'm not trying to stump you here. You hear these.
Infrastructure. Oh man, you caught me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to do that.
I shouldn't. I should be able to tell you. Anyway, it's our capital improvement.
Gotcha.
Infrastructure capital improvement plan.
Okay.
All right.
And that goes to the legislature and the governor, so when they get ready to dole out the money.
Right. These list the requests. A new water tower. We're needing additional funding. We may have some. Mm-hmm. The need is strong, but we may not have enough money to do that project. So on the ICIP, we put it on there, and they'll consider the top 5. You can have a multitude of items requested, but they look very strongly at only the top 5. And if you go up there, then that's what you try to talk to them about, and tell them how desperate that you're needing, what your plan is on how you've got this much funding, the need. It service so many within the community, and this, that, and the other. So anyway, that's what the ICIP is, and I'm glad you refreshed me. You caught me flat-footed.
Right. We need to go to the news here at the top of the hour. Does that pretty well cover?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Terry Hill, thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Well, Merry Christmas to you and to everyone out in the listening audience. You guys be safe out there, and have a Happy New Year.
Very good. Thank you, Terry.
All right, thank you.